Game Pass collection, bring you three unique perspectives from varying skill range. I am the king of this kingdom, Andrew. With me are peasant Keith
Hello.
and the knight coming in to save us all, Aaron.
Hello, hello.
This week I picked the game. Well, me and Keith got to pick it because we both have been playing this for quite a while now. But we played Kingdom Two Crowns by Noio and Coatsink. It's made by two people, but yeah. Anyway, and it's published by Raw Fury, which Raw Fury loves Game Pass. There's always Raw Fury games on Game Pass, and I love them. But Kingdoms Two Crown is a 2D tower defense game where you are playing a king who has tried to basically rebuild the kingdom and fight against the wave of greed that's coming and trying to take the items that you build for your villagers, and hopefully they're trying to take your crown so you lose the game. But before we start, I wanted to remind everyone, please make sure you check us out on our YouTube and go to our Discord and join us. Say hi. Me and Keith are quite active on there. Aaron's been doing a really good job on our YouTube. And of course, we live stream this conversation every Wednesday around 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So come on, join us for our live recordings. But yeah, let's get into Gamer Pass on this. I'll start this off. So I have played, this is, I think, the third iteration. There's four Kingdom games now. And I think I've played all except for the newest. The newest one, I don't know if you guys saw it. It's pretty cool. It actually takes place in the 80s.
I've been Googling this. After you told me this, I could not find it. What's it called? I kept looking up
Two Crowns.
I kept looking up a sequel to Two Crowns, and I literally was not finding a thing out there. So you described this game to me as a very similar game, but it takes place in the 80s?
It's literally called Kingdom 80s.
Okay.
Google
I'll have
Kingdom
to,
80s.
Because I was kind of curious as to what that one looked like, but I couldn't find it anytime I looked up for sequel. Maybe this just isn't really a sequel.
Yeah,
but
I don't think it's considered a sequel because it's just a separate game, but it's the same play style. Is what
I gotcha.
Here,
Go ahead, Andrew. I'm sorry.
When a game uses the same IP name, is that not considered a sequel?
I don't think there has to be some story connection.
That would be my
maybe there is
guess
to it, but like I think a sequel has to mean like there's some storyline connecting the two somehow.
That's man. I feel like I'm already going to get into an argument about genre and sequels. I feel it bubbling beneath the surface because Andrew called this a tower defense, and I already immediately want to be like, tower defense. But Andrew, go on with your Gamer Pass.
Okay. For me, this is a game. This is also a fantastic co-op game. This is kind of when I would cover it. I feel like we don't cover enough co-op games, so that's why I was like, we should shed some light on some Kingdom 2 Crown here. But yeah, like I said, it's split screen, so it's couch co-op, and you could also do over the internet. It's really drop in, drop out. It's very simple, so the co-op just works very well. It's a 2D map, so essentially both sides can, one person can take one side, the other can take the other, share money between each other. I enjoyed the co-op on it. As far as the actual gameplay goes, it's super simplistic, and it's a lot of kind of trial by fire. The game doesn't tell you a whole lot, so you got to figure stuff out. But I had a ton of fun with Kingdom 2 Crown. It's, like I said, easy drop in and drop out, so it's a great cloud game too. And yeah, check it out. Definite. Yeah, I think I'd give it a definite game. I think it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, this is I'm gonna go right ahead soon and just say I was waiting for you to get there, I guess, kind of, because I was gonna start with it. Is that I would say this is a definite game, and it's not the greatest game I've ever played, but it is a game that is so accessible to anyone. And as you said, with the co-op aspect of it, is that makes it doubly accessible, because if you're playing it by yourself and you're just like, oh hey, you should try this game, I don't know if I should, I don't know if I should, literally here's a controller, try it for 10 minutes. If you don't like it, it doesn't hurt my experience at all. I just tried to show you how to play, and that person could drop out and not play it anymore. So it's super simple in that regards, and I think it's a total of 3 buttons, give or take.
Yeah.
It's really just, the gameplay is so simple, but because of the, how you describe that trial by fire, where it doesn't really tell you anything, and there is a lot more going on beneath the surface in terms of what you're trying to do at least from a gameplay aspect. I don't think there really is a storyline that ever develops. Maybe I'm totally wrong on that, but fine by me. I don't care. The gameplay loop is just really fun though, and it can take you a little bit of time, but it's easy to put down. And I've put down the game, and 2 weeks later, come back and picked it up, and I'm just like, oh, okay, I know where I'm at. I can figure it out. So it's a lot of fun. I think it's definitely worth checking out on Game Pass. I think we had got it back on Games with Gold probably 5 years ago,
Yeah.
if not more. And I think I think that's where I have Kingdom 2 Crowns 2. I think both of them are available on there.
No,
I haven't
that's a
played
sequel.
That one, there was an actual true sequel, if I recall. There was like a Kingdom 2 Crowns. There was a 2 Crowns 2.
And then there's two DLCs. Yeah.
Which the
There's
DLCs
Olympus and Vikings.
There's at least additional content that's playable. I don't know if it's fully the DLC, but anyways, yeah, on Game Pass, it's just worth checking out. Like I've had it for a while, so I just always like playing it here and there. But on Game Pass, well worth the play.
I'm gonna try my very best to just not be just a cliche of myself every single week. I'm gonna try my absolute best to do this.
And don't just do it because of what Andrew said either. Just to be clear,
I don't
your own opinions.
I don't think Andrew's really. You haven't really come at me for being a cliche.
No, I'm saying that because of all the reasons you think Andrew's wrong, that you can't just be like, oh I'm fired up about this now.
All right, this is a game. I like this game. It's also incredibly boring.
Game.
It's also incredibly boring.
It's simple. I would call it boring. I'd say simple.
There's parts of it that are obviously very fun. What are you gonna?
I'm gonna go jump right in here and cut you off. I'm sorry. This is the sequel. Kingdom 2 Crowns is the sequel. There's Kingdom 2 Crowns. That's where it goes, and it adds co-op to it. Is what Kingdom 2 Crowns does, if I recall. And then there's probably some 80s. Other, and then 80s, and then I don't know. I'm looking at New Lands right now.
So
New Lands looks closer related to the current one,
which are the DLC.
Okay.
But anywho, sorry, I apologize. Yes, this one is in fact the sequel to the original Kingdom.
I'm glad. We probably should have, figured all that out before we got onto the episode.
I was going to wait for you to speak, and then I was going to come in and correct everyone.
Six years in the making on this podcast. Why would we start doing that now? Jeez.
The journalistic integrity. Why would we start that now? Yeah. So anyway, this game I enjoy it. It's fun. To me, this is kind of like, it's borderline a cozy game in a way. Like it's borderline that. And I was in a long session last night, and it just kind of occurred to me that like, I like this. It is also very boring. Like there's not really that much going on. And I think part of the problem, and again, this is where I'm trying to avoid being a cliche, but Andrew already alluded to it, so I can already say it. The game doesn't explain anything to you. Like it just doesn't.
It explains the basic mechanics of like defend your camp and spend money. That's it. Yeah.
But when I started out, I'm like, so how big do I make my camp? And then what does upgrading this thing actually do? And then randomly a ghost will come up and just kind of point. And you're like, okay, thank you. And that's about the most help. That's the most help you're going to get. And then when I played co-op with Andrew, of course, Andrew's like, oh yeah, I already 1,000%ed this game. I've beaten it like 17 times. And I'm like, what the heck?
That's what I sound like?
Yeah, just about. And then I'm like, man, my horse is like out of energy all the time. He's like, oh yeah, it doesn't tell you. Let him eat grass. And when he sparkles, you're good. I'm like, why would that be a mechanic? It doesn't explain to you. This game is built on running 15 miles right.
Yeah.
And then running 15 miles left. This is what I'm saying. This is what's very boring about it, is you kind of need to get to polar opposites of your camp. And the game is make your camp as long as possible. Just make it go forever. And then you'll need to focus on just those edges. Pretty much everything in the middle, useless. Doesn't matter. All this stuff you're running through.
True.
Oh, it kind of is, though. It kind of is. This is what I'm saying. It's a fun game. Like I would say this is more of like a base management game than I would call it a tower defense. But again, semantics. I'm not going to get in that argument. I will not be baited into it. But the bigger my base was getting, the more bored I was getting, because it was just.
Well, that's usually when you finish the island and then go to the next island and start
So
all over again.
here again is kind of the problem though with it not explaining when do I want to get on my ship and leave? What's the benefits of doing that? What
Well, you could
one thing I
also
will
semi-argue
say-
this is a little bit of a roguelike.
I was kind of waiting for you to get there, and I actually don't even disagree with you on that, because I was going to ask the question, if you didn't, is this, and I think the answer is no, because truthfully there's no meta progression at all, but the overall, at the least, procedural generation of island to island each time you restart your new kingdom absolutely has the feel of it, and you
So-
play differently every time. Not really,
And
because you don't.
I-
You kind of just do the same thing. You build wide and then you leave.
yes. That's my thing.
It's really it's a speed run game. Is more
don't-
what I see it as.
I don't hate, like, I would get a dopamine hit of watching it kind of build. And then it hits a point where I hate it. Then it hits a point where I'm like, I hate you. You're too big. And I don't want to be here anymore. And then it's just like, oh, now do I get on the ship? Is that the sign? So then the other thing is these specialists. So Andrew tells me when we're playing, he's like, oh yeah, you'll run across these specialists. And I saw one again last night. And I hoped something would say, hey, this is what this specialist does. Some stuff tells you. You go by a building and the building says you need such and such specialist. That becomes kind of obvious. Also kind of annoying though, because if it's not on your island, it's not on your island. So tough cookies. So I got this one specialist and I'm like, I've never seen you before. I don't see you on any buildings. I don't know what you are. And she kept jumping off my horse like grumpy, like, "Rah," and then would walk away from me. I'm like, what is that? What does that mean? What do I do with you? So I kept putting her back on my
Take her
horse.
out to the green.
And I'm
She's
like,
I want to leave. And you're like, no, you're not.
yeah, I was like, you got to do something. And I'm like, this game has to explain at least what the heck is happening right now. Randomly, she created like furnaces, but I don't know what they did. You could ignite them.
I don't know who this is. I don't know if I've got that person.
It, like, the ghost eventually shows up, points at this thing, and is like, an infinite possibility. And I'm like, what's an infinite possibility? So I don't know what was happening. I was so lost. I almost Googled it, but I was like, how do I even describe this woman? She's pink. Like,
Just
who is
look
the
up-
pink woman? And
Just go
two
to-
crowns.
Just go to Kingdom Two Crowns Wikipedia. and you can find
Yeah,
it.
I didn't want to do it because the game is so like simple. It is a game. Like, I did have fun. I know this is what I'm saying. I'm trying not to be a cliche where I'm like, I really like this game. Now let me tell you 35 things I hated about it. I don't want to do that, but this game it's frustrating where it feels like it shouldn't have to be. I feel like it should just give you a clear objective on the island. This is what you need to do. Now get on your boat and go to the next one. That's what it should do. I would just appreciate that. But yes, it is a game. I would not say it's a definite game, but it's worth a try. You'll get some enjoyment out of it, even if you're lost.
All right. Well, let me explain the gameplay now, as we already kind of got a little bit into it. So as I said, Kingdom 2 Crowns, yeah, it's a little bit of a tower defense game, a little bit of base management, a little bit of roguelike. Excuse me.
Bless you.
But obviously, like, it's kind of, this game is a lot of different kind of genres, but nothing quite definitive. But as it goes, you just start off as some monarch on a horse. You'd be male, female, whatever. There's different. It doesn't matter. You are obviously some sort of royalty on a horse, and you're, as we said, told by a ghost to come here. Here's your camp. It is in shambles. Spend money, build your camp up. You build it up. Cool. Now you have some peasants. Hire more peasants. There's some local vagrant camps. You got to go and throw some money at them. They become your peasants, but they don't have a job. You have to buy items in your camp in order to give them a job. Buy them a bow. They become a hunter. You buy a hammer. They become a builder, an engineer. And as you're going, you're progressively building up this island, which is a 2D island. As Aaron said, you go left and right. Come nightfall, greed attacks, which are these amorphous looking humanoid creatures that come and they just want to steal everything. If your worker has a hammer, they'll steal it from them. Your worker will eventually become a vagrant again, and you have to buy them back. And their ultimate goal is to steal your crown. If they steal your crown, runs over. Why I would describe it as a little bit as a roguelike, because as you're expanding on this island, and as Aaron's kind of saying, when you're starting off, you have nothing. You could only build wooden walls. Once you go to the next island, though, you may find the technology to get stone, and now you can build stone walls. So even if you lose your run, you still have that technology of stone, so you can go back to the first island and build stone walls. But as you're progressing on this island, if you fail a run, your kingdom is still slightly there. It just becomes a bit in shambles. So as you start over again, you can go back to it and build it up. But ultimately, your goal is to clear the greed from each island, blow up the portals, eventually find their big portal, bring a bomb in there, and blow it up. And that's how you win the game.
You've already just explained something to me that I did not know about this game. So the night that I played with you, you jumped onto my game, which is cool. You found the stone because we
Yes.
both basically said, I'll stay to the left side, you stay to the right side. You found the stone. When I played last night, I had access to that stone on a brand new island. I did not know that I kept it. So this, all right, this makes a little bit more sense. So pretty much,
Including the specialist. You can bring the specialist with you to other islands. So that's why you're maybe saying, I'm like, oh, I went to another area and I needed a specialist that didn't exist. You can bring them eventually to other islands.
oh, so all right. Well, I did not bring that specialist from the game that we were in. So
This is why I would say it's slightly roguelike-ish, but obviously I wouldn't die on that hill to fight that this game is about.
I think
this game just
think
does not explain a lick of anything.
It's a lot of trial by fire, and that's one thing I liked about it.
I don't hate that. Like, I don't mind kind of figuring some things out. The problem is, I think I get really bothered when there are clearly important mechanics it's not telling you. Like, you gotta at least explain to me these important mechanics. And having just a random ghost show up just to point in a direction is not explaining the mechanic. It is just a ghost pointing at something. But because like that specialist, I think that we had on the previous island upgraded my farms.
Yep.
And I left her behind. So
Should have took her.
I didn't know that was a thing, Andrew. It sure would have been nice if they said, "Hey, you might want to bring a specialist with
Did
you."
you take anyone?
Yes, I
Okay,
ring
'cause
the
there's a
bell.
bell you ring, and a lot of people come, and
Yeah, yeah.
usually your specialist comes.
I figured that out on my own to ring the bell. Yeah, there's just a lot of things like that. But now that does make me feel a little bit better because now I kind of understand the objective in an island. Now, the objective of the island is just get any of its big resources off of it, leave.
Yeah.
Like-
Until you get the technology to make bombs.
Until you can basically max out your, I'm assuming your upgrades, and then you can attack. Okay, wow, all right. I think I figured out the game now.
so I know I keep correcting this, but I keep reading this while you guys are talking. So Kingdom Classic was the original game that they created, bare minimum. It was like you point and click the buttons, and it perfectly summarizes everything we said. It's a game that teaches you just enough to know what buttons to push, letting you learn the deeper strategic elements through discovery and trial and error. Not so much failure is not a setback, a chance to take what you learn to go deeper. Kingdom New Lands was actually when they started releasing on the console, so it wasn't even really a second version, but it was the second release of the game, but basically just a rebuild and release on wider consoles. And then Kingdom Two Crowns really isn't even anything more than a rebuild that they just added even more deeper onto it. It's like how they explain it on their website. So this is really the first game just rebuilt
So it's the definitive edition.
in a
So
sense.
the 1980s version is the spin-off. It's a spin-off, not a sequel.
Yes. So there's really only two versions at this point, and it would be Two Crowns and that in acting principle, because the other versions are kind of just outdated old versions of the game that no one would play anymore.
Wow. I'm glad we did journalism here today. I
No,
feel good
I mean,
about this.
I
We
played the
got there
Kingdoms
20 minutes
Classic.
in.
I remember that one originally was just meant to be a survival game. Like I don't think you could win it.
Pretty much. And I actually, I would contest. I think, Aaron, you kind of scoffed at this when Andrew called this a tower defense game. And I can see where you would call it a tower defense in some games, but really, it's really more of a survival cozy game. Very much cozier than it is heavy on the survival. But
Man, those
you're
things
surviving.
are
You're
those things are like the two polar opposite genres.
But
Like,
that's
it's
really
cozy
what it is.
survival. What?
It's kind of just like, you
Cozy
kind of
horror.
you get by with what you can get by with, and it's really really easy going. I mean, most of the times that I failed were because I was like, oh yeah, I got too greedy on there, which is ironic because you're being attacked by the greed. But I think that what co-op is the most perfect version of this game because it takes out a lot of the boredom of the game that you were talking about, Aaron,
Yeah.
right? Where one person can just go left and one person goes right. And it's so simple that way. Like, yeah, you ultimately have to run back, but then it really makes you want to expand out further because you're like, well, now I don't have to run back as far because the walls are closer to me. And you can just progress further and further and really focus on it without just being like, run back, stop, eat grass, keep running back. Like I had the horse that did the double dash and everything, and it just took forever to get from one side to the other. And I wanted nothing less than to do that every time. And that was the only reason I didn't want to play.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, last night I literally hit a wall where I was just like, I enjoy this game, but I don't really want to play this anymore because my kingdom is so long. And the fact that your horse even has fatigue is annoying. Like
if it was just at night or when you were outside your walls, even I think that would be the thing. If I was when I was outside the walls of my castle, I'd be fine with it.
I agree too. Inside. I think you should almost get a speed boost with inside your castle, no fatigue. I even noticed when you're running through forests, you're slower.
Yep.
And I think, again, kind of a good trade-off. Like, this is why you need to make sure that you're clearing the trees as you're expanding. But it feels like one of those games where this shouldn't have been 2D. Like, if I could build my kingdom in a much more compact fashion, it would probably be a lot more enjoyable than doing this in a 2D way. Because I understand the concept of the game. Like, I understand what they were trying to do with it. But really, there is a lot of dead space in between outside of basically creating equipment for workers, for the archers, for the spearmen, for your farmers. Like, that whole middle area is all right. Directly where your castle is useful. Everything in between it out to the walls is useless.
Yeah, I do agree with that. It would be kind of nice if there was a bit more management stuff. Like, hey, maybe you need to build orchards or a blacksmith or I don't know, like a stable or something. I don't know.
I mean, I guess you could argue it does a tiny bit of that in regards to you have those like encampments where you can hire more people and you have this is a stretch, Aaron. I know. Yeah. I see you
already making a face like
this is I am admitting that this is a bold stretch, but you have like that and then the farms where you'll have to go collect gold, but realistically you just run by them because you have to run by them, and that becomes the real problem at the end of the day. And I fully agree with that. It takes away from the game. I could be on a 3-game rivals losing streak. Instead, I'm, running 8 miles back and forth on the 2D. I like it as a 2D world. I genuinely do. I disagree with that. It shouldn't be, you saying it shouldn't be 2D because I like it. But
then how do you fix that though?
Easily.
That is
easily.
Clearly a problem.
We literally came up with it right here. A speed boost and no fatigue with inside your walls or a teleport with inside your walls. Like, hey, I want to just be able to quick teleport back to here or to the outside, like a moving portal.
I mean, there is a teleport.
There to go
is. But you have to go all the way to the end of the island.
Yeah.
Yes.
But my point is, like, it should be able to like quick jump you, and that solves it. That quick solves it. Quick jump you to the outside of your walls or the center of your camp, and at least when you're inside the walls is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I guess the problem with the teleport is I could see as a game design decision if they include that and literally everyone is just teleporting the entire time. You're kind of looking at it and going, well, what was the point of this then? Like, clearly we've got a design problem if the way to fix this is to create a teleport that everyone's just going to permanently use the entire game.
But that's why still the slightly faster horse and no fatigue, because half of what felt like it took forever to get across the map was the stopping and recharging my horse.
Yes.
It's like 2 to 3 seconds. It's not long, but when you have to do it 10 times and it still takes you another minute and a half on top of the 30 seconds you've now added, that's 2 minutes of just dead wasted time. And it's not game loading time.
Yeah.
It's not loading into some new world. It's just to get to the other side. And that's kind of the bummer of the gameplay. I truly agree with it. I think it's the only setback of this game.
I agree.
As we're talking about this, though, like a lot of things we're suggesting, I'm like, I feel like it would ruin the game. as like a teleporter, then it's like, what's the point of the mounts? What's the point of really, like, you're just dropping around everywhere? And if you have the unlimited fatigue and everything inside your wall, once again though, like you're way harder to get caught by the greed because you can
Not
just
inside your
unlimited
walls.
run
They don't.
away.
Once your wall's broken down, then you're screwed. Then you don't have infinite anymore,
But
unless
that's why
you've
you have
built up
fatigue
those.
in the first place. So you can't just outrun the greed, and the greed will eventually get you. You have to pace yourself.
But the fatigue is fine outside your walls. Is my point. It's
But
that.
how often are you outside your walls? Like almost never.
I mean,
So what if it's just a daytime thing then? Because
Okay,
they don't.
I would maybe agree with that. Maybe
Or
a
like just-
daytime, but this whole game is time management, and if you're quickly able to just do everything on day, I don't know.
But this is where the balance is out of whack for me. Then I'll agree with you. Like clearly this was a design choice. Clearly this is how they wanted to design the game. The problem is that your scale is now tipped into boring. And once your base gets too big, I think it's a lot more fun when it's compact. Like the beginning part's my favorite part. Like really just trying to get it up to speed, and you're kind of struggling to get some money, and you're really kind of just very easy to get back and forth to either side. It's when it hits a certain point that it's like this stops feeling fun now, and it's just a chore.
You
I think that's
you
the
start
thing.
building things literally because you're overflowing with coins. So you're just like, I guess I should just build this because I'm annoyed with it, my bag constantly overflowing. And I think that too, again, going back to my within the walls argument, fits where like, okay, now it makes sense that I've built up these walls because if they break down my outer walls, now I'm outside my walls maybe again, and I can get fatigued. I have to get back to the inside of my walls. It gives me a purpose to it, and it gives purpose to building all those walls along the way more than that, because I'm sure once you fully get into the end game of this, but even far into it, I wasn't struggling. There was just I had more archers than I knew what to do with. They were hanging out on towers back at my center camp, waiting for things to do. Like I completely, I love this game. I really do. That's my one and only setback of it.
I think that would be the fix, is a smaller map. I think if they compacted the map a little bit, because I do agree, there's a lot of dead space. I wish there was more management within the middle of the camp. Like you're just buying a few items and then just that's it. You don't command your peasants. Your peasants are all automated. You just like spend money to say, hey, chop the tree down. Hey, build this wall. Hey, build a catapult. But you don't say, hey, I want 5 archers on this side, 10 archers on that side. You don't do any of that. Everything, all the peasants are just automated and doing their own thing. You don't get a peasant say, hey, I want you to be a builder. They grab whatever item's closest. So it's like, oh, you may need knights right now. You may need an archer, but hey, they ran into the hammer first. They're going to be an engineer.
But again, this is another one of those trade-offs though, because I actually like the simplicity of
I'm not complaining.
I don't have to really micromanage anything. It's really kind of just like the larger decisions that are being made, and everything else is kind of working in automation, very much like a base builder or like a Sim City in a way. You know, you're just kind of placing the things there, and then it's just kind of going and doing its own thing. So that's the balance. That either that or you make it more management style. They clearly chose an easier route, which I don't hate. I don't hate that. But
Makes it more accessible.
Yes, I totally agree. Like anybody really could pick this up. You're going to be lost, but it's not difficult to pick up. You're really just, again, clicking one button while you're clicking a sprint button, and you're clicking a here's my money button. But yeah, that's the tough thing with this game. There's clearly a middle part to it that is just missing. And I don't know. I honestly don't know how you fix it without saying, well, the game's just broken. So we just have to fix the broken part.
The game's just perfect, is what I say.
I mean, I will say one of the pure simplicities on top of it too is that there's no decisions you have to make along the way. There's not a lot. The only few early trade-offs might be with some usage of the gems. But outside of gems, it's really just see something to put coin in it and go on, because you can't build more walls or towers unless you clear the trees, so you just do that. I don't know, you do things because it's the option to do it. It's not like should I or shouldn't I do this. It's just do it because you can.
that's kind of another interesting thing to this is there. You're kind of right that there's not really a strategy to growing your castle out. You just have to do it. Like there's no trade-off for me building my castle further and further and further out. Like there is no negative to it. There's only positive.
Yeah, there's no negative events that I can think of. At least as far
it
as
can
like
clear hunting grounds. And you
Yeah,
lose
but
money.
Yeah.
so what? When you have 1,000,000 farms, the farms pay you way. You kept saying that when you and me played together, you're over on the right side, I'm on the left side, and I'm like, oh, I just want to get to farms because that's when you get loaded up with coins. And Andrew's just like, I got hunting grounds over here, and I'm like, okay, like that gets you coin a rabbit. Who cares? And you're like, I don't have enough archers for hunting. I don't want to get rid of my hunting grounds. You have to expand. There's no point
I
not
can
to.
keep changing how I sound.
Yeah, that was Andrew's impression when we played. That's what he sounded like.
I change my voice depending what game I'm playing.
Yeah, he was like really content. He's like, my
but
hunting
early in that
grounds.
game, I was literally swimming in cash. I was like, Aaron, can you please come steal these coins? Because I'm literally throwing them in the water. I have so
Well,
much
no
money right
kidding,
now.
because you weren't expanding the castle. Come to find out, you wanted your hunting grounds.
And
You
as
wouldn't
soon as I
expand it.
expanded it and lost that hunting grounds, I was hurting for money.
Oh gosh, see, this is what I'm
Did you-
talking.
did
But
you
you
build-
have to.
did you
That's
build
the only
farms?
thing you can do in the game is expand your castle. That is the game. What were you just doing over there? Just watching hunting grounds for days after days?
And strategizing.
because you also
With
get
what?
you get money for clearing out the forest.
Yes.
A
Yes.
little bit, yeah.
Yes. What
And
he's saying
on
doesn't make any
average-
sense.
On average, it's a net neutral. You typically a positive because it's not uncommon at all to get like 2 coins out of them.
But there was nothing for him to upgrade over there because he didn't want to get rid of his hunting grounds.
Oh, I'm with you. I'm with you.
You can't call this.
I clearly know what I'm doing. I thousand this game.
Andrew
And I-
called this game perfect, and it's clearly not. And again, I think it's a good game. I actually had fun with it. I enjoyed my time with it. Although a little ticked off as a side note, this isn't on PC Game Pass. How is this
Huh.
not?
Yeah, I thought that was odd.
Because I was like, well, I'm going to fire it up on my PC because it specifically has we have cross progression. The cross progression on what? And I was like, oh, I bet you this is a cell phone game. Again, not going to go down that tangent.
80s
But-
definitely is. I don't know if 2 Crowns is.
I don't
Of
think
course
Two
it
Crowns
is.
is.
But I was like, why does this have cross progression if it's not even on PC? Like, I don't have it on PC Game Pass. What the heck? So a little annoyed by that too. Sorry, I just don't know how you can call it perfect. I just have a problem with that.
I was joking. I obviously don't think it's perfect. Like I said, I do wish there was more management stuff. Because like I love medieval management games. Like they're very few and far between. But I usually love like medieval times and then ad management. That's one of my favorite genres. And that's great. Why are you laughing at that? What? What's so funny?
Man, it's just funny that you're like, when I see medieval and I see management, I just get all excited.
Okay, Mr. Call of Duty. Like what do you
And first-person shooters like the most popular genre in the world. How are you?
Oh, so I'm my own person.
You are your own person.
There
That
you
is
go.
true. That is true. Congratulations.
But did you guys play the challenge maps at all? Did you guys even know there was challenge maps?
I saw it was there.
Yeah.
But no, I did not check it out.
I mean,
I
I
don't know
only
if it
did
was
one
a-
of them because there's an achievement for one of them, which I thought was odd that they only had an achievement for one, and it was the.
Is it like you have to
Skull
complete something in a certain amount of days?
Island. Some of them are. Like I think there's like 3 or 4. The one I did, there's an achievement for. It's called Skull Island, and basically the enemies are just extra hard on it, and there's a volcano in the background that you have to keep spending money to extend the time on it. Which at first was a hard mechanic because, as you said, like the beginning can be kind of easy, but when you're really hurting for money at the beginning, it's the most difficult. But like once you got like halfway through, I was like, oh, this is easy. I have so much money, I could just keep that volcano completely dormant. So it wasn't too hard of a challenge, and the enemies, like I said, are a bit more beefed up. But when you know what you're doing, it's not that difficult.
Well, Andrew, you've gotten much further into this than I have, obviously, because you've been playing this thing for a decade. I don't find the enemies all that challenging in this game. It
Well,
feels like
you were in the basic enemies.
so. This was going to be my question because even where I'm at now, I have enough archers enough knights, enough spearmen, and my walls are the high stone. No one's getting through it. I kind of expected, because it's got a day-night cycle, so it tells you what day you're on as you're going through. I kind of expected that it progressively get worse each day, because what it's encouraging you to do, what I assumed, was you want to get off that island before you get overwhelmed. So grow, get out was my thought. But I look at it and it's like, no, it's the same enemies every single night. So we get through it, no problem.
I think it got toned down. I remember.
I remembered it being a lot more difficult when we played.
Okay,
too.
yeah.
There was I thought giant ones and.
Oh, they still exist.
I assume they're further on.
What Aaron said, that's what I felt like was before too. So Aaron wasn't kidding. This game did come out in 2015, so I guess I have been playing this for a decade. I mean, not consistently, but no, I do remember it. That was the strategy of kind of you really want to get to the next island to hopefully get that technology. So if you do lose, you can kind of recover and do better the next time you run. But yeah, when playing your game, you were still just getting basic guys. But no, eventually they get masks, which is like an armor.
Yeah, I got one in this.
Big guys that also spawn more enemies. Then you get flyers that literally abduct your people. So all those people you have in a tower, they literally will scoop them up, and now your towers are completely defenseless. So there are more difficult enemies, but yeah, you just weren't getting them.
Yeah, it felt really, really basic, and because that's where I envisioned the game was going. I envisioned the game very early on as, okay, I've got this day-night cycle. I just need to move. I need to move. I need to maximize everything that I'm doing. And then you realize pretty quickly, no, nothing's actually going to get through. I'm totally fine. The first time I died, or the only time I died, was legit because I looked down at my phone and I was out in the woods. And then by the time I looked up, I'm like, oh, what's happening? And then I died. And so that was the only time that I died. And it was just because I wasn't paying attention. But other than that, nothing was a challenge. It was kind of a breeze.
I think all these genres we're putting this game in, I feel like Keith actually did the best one, where this is a speedrun game, where it was kind of how quickly can you maximize things? Go to the next island. And
that's what I thought it was going. That's what I thought it was going to be, but it doesn't feel like that now. Yeah, because nothing's
easier.
Yeah, I can just sit there. I don't actually have to do anything. I could literally just sit in the map in the middle of my castle and let day and night go forever and not do anything, and nothing's going to happen to me. They're not killing any of my guys. They're all safe and they're not breaking through. So it's not getting more challenging. Where if this was a speed run game, that's how I would look at it. Hey, once you get to day 10, almost like a zombies on Call of Duty, speaking of Call of Duty, where, it's going to progressively get harder the more days you're going. They're going to send more at you. So you better continue to keep up and get on that boat as quickly as you can to get out. That's kind of how I thought this game was going to go. I was kind of excited for that concept, but it doesn't play like that. So it can drag. Because to me, this is how I would think, right? You kind of, in fact, this to me actually sounds more exciting. You kind of noticed when we split up. So I handled the left side, you handled the right side. You did something I wasn't doing, which was you sprinted down the map to pick up all the chests and probably to scout and see what you got down there.
Yeah.
I almost like the idea of this game where you kind of have to take a gamble. You don't have time to expand both sides. Pick a side, scout it real quick, start building. If you didn't like what you saw down there, take the gamble, go down to the other side. Start building. Get what you can out of it, get your resources, and then you want to get as quickly to building your boat to get out. To me, that would be a fun strategy then. The strategy is you don't have enough time to build both sides. You got to pick one. So figure it out within the first 2 days, figure out which side you're going to focus on, and go. Because by day 12 to 15, you're probably going to start getting overwhelmed here if you're pretty early on in the game because you don't have enough technology to fight it off. Right? I just created a better version of this game.
See, but here's the honest thing about that. Andrew said this earlier, and I don't know that I have I know that I have absolutely zero evidence of this. But this game got easier. Like it,
Yeah.
I really think there was an update to this overall gameplay where they toned it back. Because I
Are we just on
swear
a lower difficulty?
I don't think there is a difficulty setting. It's
I
just
thought there was. I
jumping,
thought there were
like,
3 difficulties.
maybe there is, and I missed it, and I completely glossed over. But I don't think there is. Because I remember it was around day 15 where there was like we
Yeah.
got overwhelmed.
Like every 10 was like a blood moon, and that was kind of like hey, after at this point, like enemies are now gonna be wearing masks, enemies are getting more beefed up. Yeah, I remember that too, Keith. Okay, yeah, I think we're on
and
the
there
same
is a
page.
blood moon still because there's
Yeah.
but
But I remember that being like things are gonna get real now.
yeah, or at the very least for that round it would be like, hey, here's like an ultra beefed up version of what you've been fighting. Like I haven't really felt overly challenged. It was just again, it was one of the few times I died, and like you talk, I don't think you were saying that this is how it, or that it is like this currently, but there is no challenge to like, oh man, I wonder if I can see what like within the first day I ran all the way to the end of the map and got back safely. I was like, oh, okay, wait, that feels off. I feel like I would have been punished for doing this the last time.
Well,
I
there's
played
probably
this.
an island you already cleared before prior.
No, it was a new game because I started fresh.
Huh.
I don't know. Maybe it was a little later than that, but all the same, I felt like I got out to the edge of the map way sooner than I would have expected to.
So, all right, Aaron, what island did you get to?
They have names?
No, how many times did you get on your boat?
I think I'm on my 4th. So I definitely have mask guys.
I think there's 4 islands. So I think they toned down the game.
That's
There's only
wild.
4 islands in this
There
game?
might be 6.
I thought
there's
there
not
was
a lot.
5.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, there's not a ton.
how? I feel like I'm missing so much stuff right now.
Because you're supposed to revisit the islands. When you're sailing, it when you're sailing, it tells you like what you can collect on that island. So you can kind of see what specialists or technologies you're missing.
So like
Yeah, like, so
like
if you're
for
on the
instance,
first
I need to
island, there's
upgrade
no-
certain things and it needs bricks, it looks like. Where
Yeah.
the heck do I get bricks?
Bricks and then iron.
or gems. That's another thing.
That's crazy. So this game's I'm like literally at the end and I feel like I haven't explored anything.
Well, time to beat this game's looking at 22 to like 29 hours.
And I haven't seen flying guys. I haven't seen big beefy guys that spawn little guys. I've
Either
seen
way.
mask guys.
The fact that you're still 4 islands in, that's all you've gotten. They must have toned down this game. Because I'm with you, Keith. Like I remember I played this, when it was Games for Gold. So this was probably after a year. It was maybe released, and I remember it
Sounds
being way harder. Like, but now it's like. So I started up again. Like I haven't touched this game since it was on Games for Gold. Like I know it hit Game Pass prior. No, I might have touched it when it was on Game Pass prior, but either way, it left Game Pass and now it's back. And I remember being like, I remember having a hard time with this, but I still remembered. Like this is a great thing about this game too. This game is like riding a bike. Even though I haven't played this game in years, as soon as I
It's 2
picked it up, I
buttons.
was like, well, yeah, that's true. But either way, I knew what was going on. I knew the weird nuanced things that you don't know, like you're complaining about, Aaron. Like I remembered it. And I'm like, oh, I remember I need to get a guy who can do this thing. And then I remembered that there was a lizard mount. That's the best because it can actually breathe fire and you can actually fight enemies with it. But yeah, I remember like actually struggling. And then when I picked this up again, I was like, oh, maybe I'll try to finish getting the rest of the achievements now. And I did it no problem. Like I said, I did that Skull Island, no issues. And I remember when you start Skull Island, it's like, this is the hardest island. It took me 2 tries. And I was like, okay, that was easy.
Yeah, nothing's been a challenge so far. And the only thing I can think of is this must be a difficulty thing. Like there must be a difficulty that
Yeah.
we didn't see. I mean, I wasn't looking for it. I was just looking to try the game. As the noob on this podcast, I don't necessarily want to make it miserable for myself when I'm playing.
Not
But
me.
yeah,
I find it fun when it's miserable.
No, I mean, the game is fun. Like it is a fun game, but it's missing something. Maybe it's the difficulty. Maybe it should be difficult. Like I could see where that's an interesting, because then you're really talking strategy. To me, then strategy becomes a whole lot more interesting. And kind of like Keith said, upgrading the inner parts of your castle. I never touched that stuff. because you don't need to because they're never getting through the outer side. But I might want to.
See, that's the
If-
thing. When they do, they do. Like as soon as your
Oh, it
outer
happens
wall
fast.
cracks, yeah, it just everything crumbles.
Like on the island I'm on, like I did make the mistake of I got too late on trying to upgrade when I was building out. So
So your walls were down while they were big.
yeah, so they weren't stone yet by the time they got there. And sure enough, it messed everybody up because all my guys were still waiting at that side on out to that unfinished wall. So they were all out there and got absolutely wrecked.
Well,
But
that is kind of the thing about this, right? It's like it's not a difficulty thing. It's not even a skill thing. It's like that was a dumb decision, and now I just wasted an hour and a half of gameplay.
yeah, it was just kind of one of those things where I was like, I don't know. I was like, I think they can build this pretty quick. Like, I don't think it takes that long. And then you're watching me like, go faster. Like you see it getting darker and you're like, hurry. And you can't tell, like you can't direct them to get away from it. But you just realize like, oh, this is not going to go very good.
The only real strategy you can do at that point, if you have enough, is
run away.
Run out ahead of the wall and drop a few coins because as soon as they grab a coin, they'll run away.
Yeah.
You sort of feed the
just pay them off.
Bit. Yeah. Get out of here. Leave me alone. We're trying to build.
I love our cameras of me and Aaron are like relaxing keys. Like
I'm into this.
It's right in the screen.
It's like real intense.
Sorry, I'll sit back.
Yeah,
No,
there you go.
dude,
Chill out, man.
Me from back here.
Keith's really into this game. All right, but let's go into the graphics. So I remember playing with you, Aaron. You wanted to bring this up. So why don't you take it away? Why don't you start with graphics?
All right. I guess I do have to give this one a little bit of a pass because I did not realize this game has been out since 2015. But I did tell Andrew when I was playing with him that I am getting just slightly annoyed with every indie game going 16-bit or 8-bit, like with the pixelated graphics. It's kind of like I understand. It's probably way cheaper to do that. But I remember early on when this started happening with indie games, it was kind of kitschy and fun.
Yeah.
Like you're like, ooh, it's pixelated. I know it's like everybody does it for like every stinking game. And I'm kind of like, it's kind of a turnoff for me now. When I'm looking through Game Pass and I see just this pixelated thing, I pretty much don't want to touch it. Like I have like, what is it? Enter the Gungeon just came back onto Game Pass. And I was like, I remember playing that. I went and fired that up again. And I was like, gosh, the pixelated graphics. And it just immediately bothered me. So I'm just kind of getting done with it. Again, I will give it a pass on this game. I did not realize 2015. This was probably pretty early on in the pixelated world. So this probably deserves a little bit for that.
Enter the Gungeon, I think, is actually not too far off from that too.
Yeah, probably not. You're probably right. I think because I feel like that was on Game Pass with this the first time.
It was. I remember we did Enter the Gungeon, I think our first or second year of this podcast.
Yeah. So I'm just saying in general, there's just a lot of indie games that are doing that. It's annoying. This game doesn't look bad.
2016. So yeah.
Yeah. So right there, just that pixelated thing. It's getting a little played out.
I don't know. I see where you're coming at, but I love this. I think the art style of this game is really beautiful.
I don't think this game looks bad.
Liz was watching me play this, and even she was like, "Wow, that's beautiful water."
Yeah. You know what I love is the background of this game.
Yeah.
It's when they've got those two giant statues in the background, kind of holding the crown. What the cover art for the game in the background, and as you're running, it's shifting, and that looks great. Like, I don't think this is an ugly looking game. I think even the kind of the artifacts of when you're kind of going through the forest and stuff like that, like you see little lightning bugs and stuff like that. Like you'll see things that actually make the game look pretty great. So for a pixelated game, this isn't a bad one. It's very clear. It's not like muddy to where you can't understand what you're looking at. Like sometimes you'll get those pixelated games where like a character's trying to express something. You're like, I don't know what they're expressing because they're just like 3 pixels. Where this game looks great on that front.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think you're right on the time of it. I think that's also it perfectly fits what the gameplay is, because I think this would almost be weird if it was hyper realistic. And I know that's not what you're calling for either. Like, not like, okay, this needs to be AAA graphics on the end of Pixel, but
I wouldn't hate that.
it would be, I don't know, I feel like it would be sort of weird if it was, a semi-realistic looking horse and all that. Just the simplicity of it being a 2D side-scrolling game, the pixelated graphics fits. And I agree that they if they tried to do too much with the characters, like some sort of weird, emotions and things like that, you're like, nope, I have no idea what's happening here. But it isn't. It's just you run underneath the thing until there's a circle where a coin can go. Do you have enough coin? Yes or no? Hit button. And so it's like it fits perfectly. And so then they put the detail of the nice looks, as you noted, like into the background, into those small little details that at least just make it feel a little bit more lifelike, and not just old school Mario with a different setup. Basically, there's a reason for the pixelation, and I think it fits pretty well in this case.
Yeah, man, I'm actually on the Wikipedia, and there's actually stuff I'm like, I have never seen this in the game, and I'm like reading it, like, so there's still stuff I've not discovered. But anyway,
now, are you sure it's not part of the DLC as well?
No, because I'm also reading on the DLC too, which I'm kind of tempted to like. I kind of like because I
It's
love
only a
this
couple
game.
bucks, isn't it?
If you've
it's like
1000%, if you've gotten your 1000 gamer score off of it, you probably have earned the ability to just download the DLC just to check it out.
I would say so. Like, I don't know if I like this game or not.
Yeah, I feel like you've gotten to the point where you should definitely check
especially
out the
in a
DLC.
game that isn't done in like 5 hours. Like, there's games that are definitely like, oh no, I didn't really like that 5 hours, but I did it because got all the score and I was halfway through it already.
Well,
this isn't one of those games. You
usually the reason why
liking it or not.
Usually the reason why like I may not do a DLC is because like, what does it add to the gameplay? And to me, like, I'm trying to look and like, yeah, you get some
larger
artifacts,
castles,
but it's like, oh, it's just an
Pretty much.
Olympus setting, and I'm like, okay, but like, is that it? Just like reskinning of things, and there you go.
That's kind of neat.
I don't hate that.
But I mean, anyway, I agree with you. You said of like the background is really cool because we didn't really touch on it because there really isn't. It's like the environment almost kind of tells a story, but there really isn't much of a story.
Mm-mm.
And like that's the only thing that kind of disappoints me. It's like, what is this greed? Where's it coming from? Because it kind of looks like in the background that there was other kingdoms that have fallen, and the greed is what happened. But it's like, well, where did you come from? The ghost is clearly a former royalty monarch, and it's like, well, what happened to them? But yeah, so there is a little bit of like environmental storytelling, but not enough. So that's my only complaint about the graphics. But overall, I love the graphics of this game. Like, even though the water takes over like half of the screen, literally, I love the water in this game. It's very calming looking. So I think this is why Keith was saying of like, oh, it's kind of a cozy game because like you do have a big vista of water, and it's just very serene and kind of relaxing. But the music though, I really like this game's music. It's very chill. Once again, I could see why Keith would call this a cozy game because of this music. This soundtrack is super relaxing, which be careful because it can put you to sleep. It's so relaxing.
Did you fall asleep playing this game?
I have before, yes.
I believe that.
I have never fallen asleep playing a video game. I have seen Keith sleeping while playing video games. I get that. But to me, if I was tired enough, I would get up and go to bed. Like, I've never been tired enough that I've fallen asleep playing a video game. I've gotten tired enough to say, all right, I'm going to bed, and getting up, turn it off, and going to bed.
Which I do sometimes, but sometimes I have to stay up because I'm like, well, I got to sleep all day the next day so I can stay up in the middle of the night when I'm at work.
Yeah, I guess different problems for different people. Now, when you wake up, are you still holding the controller in your hand?
No. I've never hard fell asleep like Keith. I will doze off and then like wake up and be like, I don't know what I just did the past 10 seconds. Like I've been playing Kingdom Come Deliverance too, another Kingdom game, but there'll be times where I'm riding the horse and I'll doze off and I'll wake up. I'm like, oh, I'm at my destination. Okay.
And you're just running into the wall.
Yeah. No,
just galloping into the wall. I do love that the Keith falling asleep playing video games is such a thing that we all remember at different points.
Yeah. He would hard fall asleep.
Yes.
Not me. I would doze.
We were playing. Gosh, it was
I remember
Resistance.
Super Smash Brothers. No, that's Mario Party. I remember we were playing Mario Party and he was asleep.
You can always tell when Keith fell asleep. I remember we have a mutual friend of ours who got a PlayStation 3. When we all got the Xbox 360, he got a PlayStation 3 and he got Resistance. Remember Resistance?
Yeah.
The Halo killer that never was. And I remember it was co-op, and I remember playing, and then you see on the upper screen Keith's character just running into the wall, and we're like, what the heck? And we look over, he is passed out, just pushing the controller forward. As I was like, dude fell asleep mid-action game, like just out cold. But it wasn't the last time we saw that, because like you said, Super Smash Brothers. I remember him falling asleep playing World of Warcraft all the time, because he would come over to our house. He would sit on the back couch playing World of Warcraft, and then you would sometimes look over and he would just be out cold, just with his hands on the keyboard and mouse. And you're like, how does he
fully
manage
blame
this?
me on World of Warcraft though?
No. Oh, well,
Like, yeah, early World of Warcraft was super grindy, so yeah. And
Well,
like
yeah.
you didn't get a mount till 40, so you had to walk everywhere.
Totally fair. But again, it was just that I've never fallen asleep
Yeah.
while playing something. Like, I would just get up to go to sleep. I would never get myself so tired that I would be controller in my hand, passed out cold. But Keith somehow managed it, which also makes me fear for your driving. Have you fallen asleep driving yet?
Nope, never once.
I'm
that's
not gonna lie,
shocking.
I've gotten a
It's-
little close sometimes.
It's strictly a video game thing.
That's so strange.
Well, that and
it
I
just
guess
lulls
like
you.
TV. So like screens in general, I guess.
I can't-
like because TV and movies will do it.
I don't
too.
fall asleep during TV and movies either. It's something about the dialogue. If I hear dialogue, it's activating my brain too much. I like have to watch what's happening if I'm
That's
hearing
what I'm
that.
saying. But a lot of this game is no dialogue. It's just
It
it's
doesn't.
just calming music.
It
And
is
calming music will put me to sleep.
also a bad sign, Andrew, for a game that your claim is perfect. If it's
I was
putting you to
being
sleep.
sarcastic.
You weren't though.
Obviously
I
not
saw
gonna
it in
say
your eyes. You
100.
meant it. You meant every word of it.
Twinkle in my eye. No. I've always wondered, yeah, like as an adult I'm falling asleep, but how did this happen to you as a kid, Keith?
The
Like, 'cause-
thing that was crazy about that, I remember being like 8 o'clock at night. Like I
Yeah.
remember it not being all that late, and he was like out.
I used to regularly like stay up all night. Like I was one of those. I was like, that's how I was when I was younger. Like I would stay up like all night, all day. Like you remember, Aaron? Like I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to bed. It's like 4
Yeah.
a.m. And like 45 minutes later, you would wake
That's
up.
true.
To, like,
You
go to the
had
bathroom and I'd just be,
awful,
like, back
awful
up.
sleeping habits, but
The worst.
'cause
I really haven't gotten much better as an adult.
because
to be
you could
completely honest.
you could fall asleep. You could fall asleep during a video game. We would wake you up, obviously mocking you mercilessly for doing that, and then you'd be completely fine. Like you literally got like a 40-second nap, and you're like, yep, all right.
Oh,
All
yeah,
right.
no, good to go
Did
for
you
the
kind
That's
of-
tomorrow.
you too, Aaron. I don't know how you did. You like I remember growing up, you would always take like a 5-minute nap. You're like, I'm good, and it's like, God, I hate you. I have to take
I'm
like
still
a
like
3-hour
that.
nap to feel like functional.
I can't sleep from
If I
like
sleep more than like 30 minutes, I feel terrible.
for me in max. My body will let me go 30 minutes, and it's back up, and I feel good. So
Yeah, might as
for
well
me,
I might as well be in bed for the night if it's more than 30 minutes.
oh, exactly. When I was younger, I could pull off a 2-hour nap. I cannot do that now. Like that's impossible.
Man, not me. My life's snapping.
Well, your problem is you work a night shift.
Yeah.
That night shift is just brutal. Like it's going to mess up everything for you, obviously. So I think
Yeah.
that's if you probably had a pretty consistent schedule, you'd probably be fine. But those nights have to be absolutely brutal.
It is. It's a balancing act, especially with kids.
Yeah.
But yeah, this game does have its soundtrack on Spotify, and like a lot of its songs have over 1 million views.
Well, there you go. All right.
Actually, no, it's like consistently at least over 300,000. Like
It's
the
not a big
lowest
game, but
song-
it's been around for a long time. So I imagine this has a community, like a pretty devout community to it. I mean, it's
Yes.
obviously it's got a Wikipedia page, so
man, there's 40 songs. Granted, they're all like the longest song I think is like 2.5 minutes.
I was gonna say that, but they're pretty short.
Yeah, because you just hear them on a loop.
Yep.
But this is a great soundtrack, though. Then the achievements. The achievements are pretty good in this game too. As I said, I have none of the DLC. but I have like I think 1,050 gamer score. So even with the DLC they came out with, obviously they came with more achievements. The achievements that they came out with are accessible even without buying the DLC, which is super
Oh,
good
wow.
move. But I think overall there's like 1,300 gamer score you can get in this game. But the achievements vary from just playing the game, but then there's some challenge ones of, hey, can you build your castle up to like the wooden keep within like 2 or 3 days?
I got one of those. So
Yeah.
we're getting something within, I think it was 9 days.
Yeah, it said like on the first day. Then there's one
Yeah.
that says on the second day, and they're like specific achievements to get in a certain time frame, which are
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. It's kind of like a speed run
Yeah.
to get them. So, and since I guess it's easy enough to jump onto a new island and it starts your day night cycle over, it's pretty easy to just jump on and try it again.
Yeah. So I highly recommend this game for achievement hunters. It's pretty simple. Like as we were saying, this game is not very difficult. It's something you usually pick up and play. Like I said, I think when I just picked this game up this past week, I probably gained 200 gamer score. Like I remember being at like 700 or 800, and now I'm over 1,000. So yeah, your achievement hunter, definitely check it out. Let's get our final thoughts here. Kingdom 2 Crowns. As I said, for me, this is a definite game. I think this game is very accessible to just about anybody. It's a great couch co-op game. If you have a significant other who doesn't like to play a lot of games, I'm curious, Keith, when you do your review, what Amber thought of it. Because this is literally just a couple buttons. It's an easy game to play, but a little more difficult to master because you got to figure stuff out on your own. It's a lot of trial by fire. The lack of a story, I think, kind of hurts the game. I love its art style and its music. I just wish I had more of the world to understand with its story. But as far as the gameplay goes, it's just simple. You know, this is a easy palate cleanser. You can pick up and play. It's only like 1.5 gigs, so you don't need to keep this on your hard drive. You can uninstall it, but if you're getting frustrated with something, you just download it real quick and play it for a little bit. The game runs super quick too. As we said, there's a day-night cycle. Each one is like 30 seconds long, so the game is just moving. But I do agree with what everyone else is saying. I do think in the middle it gets a little bit stale, but just stop playing it. Pick it up again in another month. You'll be refreshed with it. This is I'd give this game an 85.
Yeah, I think overall there's outside of that, really that middle grind that's not even a grind. It's just slow moving progress of how, kind of how it seems to move of getting to point A to point B across your islands. Honestly, is my I think one and only gripe about it. The music and everything is good, but truthfully, you can put on your own music, put on a podcast, put on whatever you want. There's no sound cues that you're missing within the gameplay, so it's got that nice element to it. I like games that like don't require the music necessarily, but absolutely still make the gameplay experience better. Excuse me, sorry. But overall, yeah, I love it. I think I've settled on it's a roguelike. I looked at the difference. I double checked. There's no meta progression. That is the big difference. It's permadeath, procedural generation. Every island's different every time you restart the game. I think this actually fits under a roguelike, and I'm going to agree with you in your overall assessment of that. So I guess that's got to add like a point or two. In all honesty, but I think it's perfectly that. It's a game that you're just like, I don't know. I feel like I want to play something for a little bit longer, but I don't really want to get involved with a new run of Rivals or whatever game you're on, Call of Duty. You can just pick up and play this, and it's nice to just play it for a few minutes, and you can put it down, pause it, save it where you're at, and come back whenever you feel like coming back to it. And yeah, I think overall. Oh, and you want to know, Amber doesn't have a review of this game, but I think she would at least be willing to give it a try because of the lack of buttons requirement to it. The fact that it could be 3 buttons or less, she'd at least try it. Probably would think it's boring because she doesn't like games, but I could be wrong. She would at least try it though because of the buttons, to answer your question. But I would give it an 88.
All right, so both these guys are going to be higher on this than I'm going to be. It's not a definite game. This is a game. I would just say from the, I guess I'm still in the newbie section of this podcast where I come at these games usually with less experience because I play like the same 5 games forever and ever. So playing these types of things are always a little bit more of a challenge, especially if it's not explaining to me what the heck I'm supposed to be doing, unless Andrew's playing it with me and he's telling me. So there is a limitation for me on this game. It was fun. It was kind of fun to learn it a little bit. It was fun to watch the progression and things kind of grow. But as you've heard throughout the episode, it's got plenty of areas that just need a little bit of tweaking. And I don't know, maybe the 2015 version of this game was actually more fun because there was a lot more danger added to it. I don't know if danger solves it for me if you're not explaining what I need to be doing, but it at least does create a layer of strategy that I think this game kind of lacks, where that middle part could be avoided if you were forced to have to focus on what you do next. So for that, it's a game, but I'm going to put it at a 76. I don't know if this is a game I would pick back up a whole lot. Like I'd kind of be okay with getting through a run on this and maybe trying it one more time, but that would be about it for me.
I will say, well, this is a game I feel like I could try to sell anyone on. It does feel like a hard game to just be like, hey, I don't know, just like any one of your friends. Like, and it really depends. Like Andrew's the type of friend that I could be like, hey, do you want to just play a little bit of Kingdom 2 Crowns? And it would fit because we're just like, we both like the style of it and all of that. You can't just, like I wouldn't ask you to play this, Aaron, outside of, if we were trying to prep for this podcast.
The objectives are not
like, oh, we got nothing going on. You want to just play a little bit of Kingdom 2 Crowns?
Yeah. The objectives are not clear enough to just hand this off to somebody. If not for playing with Andrew the other day, I think I'd probably be coming to this way more negative than I am. It helped playing with him because he was filling in gaps that literally are not explained to you at all. I'd be coming onto this podcast saying, what is wrong with that horse? I hate the horse. I hate that it's got no energy all the time. But if not for playing with Andrew, what's the difference? So yes, this to me would be a hard game to recommend. It's 2 buttons, but literally nothing else is explained to you. So that I would hand this off to somebody that knows what they're doing with video games and is up for the challenge of figuring it out.
Man, I didn't realize. So this Call of Olympus, I'm actually kind of tempted to get. It
There
came
you
out
go.
2024. This game. So this is a recent DLC.
Just get it, Andrew.
It's
Stop
$10
talking about it.
though. The
Who-
base game of this base game is $20. So this is
So
half
what?
the base game. But it sounds like you could do like sea battles, and there's actually like way more into this game.
Yeah, it seems like a lot more involved.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, if you're looking for the DLC, it's $10. But Game Pass subscribers, I'm pretty sure you get a 10% discount. But
There you
anyway, so let's wrap it up here. Thank you all so much for joining us. As I said at the beginning, please make sure you come join us on our socials, our YouTube, our Discord. You can go to GamePassGrabBag.com. You'll find the link to everything. It brings you to our link tree. I've been your hardcore game host, Andrew. You can find me on Xbox Live at Firebird01952. If you have any game suggestions, we always like getting some game suggestions. It's been a while since we've had some.
You say that, but probably how long is the backlog of games we actually haven't touched on there?
I know,
Or
but
we
it's been a
actually threw
while.
it?
Well, the last one we did was Halo Reach. Eugene recommended we played that.
Okay.
But I mean, we've been doing a lot of short games recently because I've been playing a lot of my own games, so I'm like, I need to do some short games. But I'm pretty sure next week is going to be kind of a bigger game if we're sticking with it. But yes. But anyway, yeah, come join me on Xbox Live. Anyway, go whoever wants to go next.
I'm Aaron. I don't know. Sometimes I stream on our YouTube channel, so you can find me out there. See ya.
Aaron, you're stealing my bit. I'm Keith. I don't know. Aaron stole my bit.
No, you stole my bit. I went first. Get your own bit.
I've been on this
What's your
podcast
bit?
for
To have a
6 years, and
crappy
I've been
ending?
doing the bitless outro for 6 years. And you come on here.
For some reason, Andrew keeps handing it off to us like we're going to have something.
It is
I'm
true.
sorry. I'm trying to be polite. You just want me to say, well, bye. You guys
Yeah.
can't say anything.
Yeah, and that's
Is that
it
what
for
you
us
want me to
I
today.
say?
say
See ya.
bye at the end every time.
Okay, fine. I'll do
And
that
it's
from
not a-
now on. You
and
guys
it's
can
not-
say nothing.
And it's
Thank you.
and it's not a listener, so I don't have to give him a review.
I'm gonna end each episode now being like, and Aaron loves to, lick people's feet. All right, goodbye, everyone. And you won't have time to dispute it.
I'll say
It'll just
bye.
have to be put out in the world. That
All you
like
have to
lick
do is
people's
just
feet.
say, and that's it for us tonight.
You say
We'll
that,
see you
like,
guys
it's
in
a
the next
threat.
one.
Like I haven't countless times been like, I don't know. If people just write us an email and like tell Keith to say this stupid thing, like I'll do it.
All right.
And then you're threatening to tell people that we lick feet. Like that's gonna bother me.
All right. Well, anyway, I hope you all have a good night. Totino's is the best frozen pizza. We love you all. We'll see you again next week.
Okay, bye.
You didn't even say bye, Aaron.
It's the perfect outro. Totino's is the best frozen pizza. That is fact.
Not according to Liz.
All right. Well, not all of us are cultured.
So yeah,
All
I think
right.
next week we're doing Adam Fall, but yeah, you said you're down.
Yeah, I'm going to be in Rockport, Massachusetts.
Ooh, Carl.
I have to take my in-laws to tour Massachusetts.
And are you gonna say this is where the proposal was shot?
No, Lindsay does that every time, though.
Rockport's nice though.
It is nice.
Water and all.